What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's Off the Air, immediately following NXT every single Tuesday night. Ben, what did I tell you about that stupid song? Dang it. We need a better countdown on Tuesdays. We had a good one before. Why'd you change it? It's been bothering me this whole time. Darn it. But one thing that didn't bother me was tonight's episode of NXT. It was all right. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't bad either. I'm excited to break it down, and it's freaking Tuesday, which means get your darn twos up. All the way from the DMV, we got the Tuesday night delight hanging out with me. It's Shoddy. What's good?
What it do? What it do? 2 times Tuesday with your boy Shad. And yes, I agree. It was an interesting episode of NXT, and I'm excited to talk about it. So let's get into it. And also, Big Driz, we miss you, dog. Hope to see
We
you
do.
back.
I mean, I didn't actually really know what to do without someone to believe in. So that's why I had to immediately criticize the entrance music. I partially blame Drizzy for being so upset out of the gates.
That beat is kind of trash for that new entrance. I ain't gonna lie.
It's terrible. Like, what are they doing? And I get it's royalty free. We got to do what we got to do here, but chaos. Give us something. Tuesday night, delight. Give us something.
No, I gotta call him. I get on the song. I spit a 16 for it too.
Yeah, 16 bar. Now we're talking out of the gates. Shoddy. Shad doesn't just talk graps. We've also got our friends in the building. Fernando Zayas with Greetings Republic Crew. What's going on, Fernando? Good to have you. You said NXT was great. And a great follow-up to Roadblock. We got Bobby Batito, original Bobby Batito with hello, guys, and he's got his twos up. DCX Warlord. Javon Evans versus Oba Femi versus Trick Williams and Stand and Deliver would be fire. Ooh, yes.
Let's start with the main event.
Let's get right into that, Shoddy. That's exactly where I was going. Let's talk about Trick Williams and Eddie Thorpe. Funky little finish here. 2 big MMA fans. We watch a lot of UFC fights between the two of us. This one fell a little bit flat. I like the follow-up, but the finish itself, if we're talking about the match itself, come on, man. The trick shot, if you're going to sell it, I don't want to see any sort of gyrations. I want to see you not moving. Stop moving, period. They're going to stop this with no ropes on a flying knee. Don't be moving. Don't be moving, Shoddy, but talk to me about that one, and then we'll talk about the follow-up here with the 3-way and everything else involved, because it involves Mania weekend, and it's Mania season.
It's coming up. Yeah, it's coming up. We are definitely in Mania season at the moment. I thought the match definitely didn't live up to expectations with it being a underground match. Part of it to me feels like you might need to have a person who is in the MMA background to make these type of matches click a little bit better. When we see Shayna do it, when we see Lola Vice do it, it definitely feels a little bit more organic because they have elements of mixed martial arts, a lot of the technical background aspects to it. But when we talk about the match that happened tonight, it felt like a sprint. It felt like a little bit of a fight. I know this was a bit of a blood feud, but I would expect a little bit more physicality. If Trick is going to win in a squash short match aspect, I'd rather Trick piss down his leg. I'll have Trick beat him to a bloody pulp, and that adds to the element of what we are building with Trick. Now, he got in there, did his job, in and out, quick, but the match itself, I don't know, it didn't it just didn't have a sense of cohesiveness for me with the style of match that we have. Because, I am a fan of these underground matches. I think they are great when done right, but I don't know, it felt something missing.
1000% Shad, and I'm sorry, I was a little distracted there because I had to fact check this one. Bless you, Anthony Manzano. But Eddie Thorpe, do not confuse his background in Japan, Carl Fredericks, with a background in mixed martial arts. He has not fought anybody professionally. He's never trained in a mixed martial arts gym. He's a professional wrestler, which is an awesome physical art And I'm not going to be talking any crap, but he is not locking in a Darce choke on anybody. Not anytime soon. He's not knocking anybody out cold in any fights or doing anything like that. That is not the case.
Yeah, I know he did some work in the LA dojo, but yeah, to Clark's point,
Yeah.
it's not like Valerie Laredo was in Bellator
Fighter.
in fighter, right? Shayna was a UFC fighter. Ronda
Fighter.
Rousey, we know who Ronda Rousey is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a little different,
even
man.
like the shooter thing, it's like even you look at somebody like a Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was an Olympic gold medalist. He's a shooter. That's grappling, but it's also different competing in that art like that. You look at DCX Warlord here, with this is a great comment. Tom Lawler, filthy Tom Lawler, former UFC fighter, former Bellator fighter.
Yes,
that would be absolute cinema and trust crunch. Sorry, no, but then Marina Shafir as well. Brock Lesnar. To Bobby Petito's point, Bobby Lashley. You have Jack Swagger, Riddle. Riddle's the only person ever released in UFC history on a 6-fight win streak. Yeah. That's a little known fact.
And like even with Riddle, it was him and with him and Thatcher, right? They had something similar to that.
When Timothy Thatcher, interestingly, you look at Josh Barnett, that's catch wrestling, right? And if you look way back, if we're talking wrestling history, and stop texting me in the middle of a show, guys. Sorry. But if we're looking way back in wrestling history, you look at somebody like Jose Lothario, who was Shawn Michaels' trainer in San Antonio, right? And what was Shawn Michaels' style described as in the 90s? Catch as catch can, which is catch wrestling in pro wrestling's form, right? Catch wrestling is essentially the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's submission wrestling combined with freestyle wrestling. That's what it is. Shoot wrestling. And that's where catch as catch can came from. That's where all that came from. And I mean, I just think my only issue with this one is if you're going to take a knee like that and take the trick shot like that in this context, you better be out. And it wasn't out. Bart Gunn's an interesting one. He won some shoot fights, but he wasn't necessarily a shooter himself. He was kind of just a barroom brawler. But yes, he did have one of the best left hands you'd ever see in your life. Bart Gunn did. Yeah, this is an interesting conversation when it comes to that. Now, outside of the shoot realm,
let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Let's get back to pro wrestling here. Because at the end of the day, Trick did get the victory, and I thought that was deserved. Then we see everything surrounded. Shadi, we've got this new thing, the Dark State, and they watched all of this happen. And then we had Javon as well as Oba Femi. But the two that stood tall, ironically, were Trick and Oba. And this Dark State aspect of it is real interesting. This is where things get real dicey.
Trick and Javon, you meant, by the way.
Trick and Javon, I apologize.
Yeah.
Sorry, Trick and Javon. But either way, this is where it gets real interesting. And like it's, dude, I mean, this. What are you thinking here? Because I'm starting to have some wicked. Feel like the Grinch. I'm starting to have some wicked awful ideas.
Yeah. We talked about it obviously after it all kind of happened, and I came with a idea. I think tonight the Dark State were a little different at the end of it. They were smiling. They look impressed. Why would they look impressed? Why would they not gauge the ring and attack within the numbers? I think they saw an element of somebody in that match or in that final sequence that really struck an interest. And I think I know who it is. If I'm the booker here, I'm looking at this faction not like Retribution, not like the Shield. I'm looking at like the leaders of the new school, the new kids on the block, the young, hungry killers young guys, all four of them. They need a leader. And you know who is the leader of the new school? You know who is the best young wrestler on NXT? Javon Evans. I think Javon added as the face of this faction, the leader of the new school of the Dark State, could be great for the faction because today we got a lot more legwork on it. We had an opportunity to hear these young gentlemen talk. You got to see Dion Lennox talk more naturally with more aggression, not being a Poindexter, but being a real, tough SOB. You got to see Saquon Sugars show his element of how great of a talker he is. And you got the other two gentlemen that I apologize, I don't know your names yet, but the heavies of the group. But they still need star power. Add Javon Evans to it. He is going to elevate that group because he elevates at all facets of his, career. He's the bouncy one. He's the guy who jumps high to the occasion, and that adds an extra battery because I don't care what no one says. NXT is the development brand. You need to do different stuff with these young wrestlers. This is why it was important for Braun Breaker to go heel. This is why it's important for Roxanne to go heel. You got to see what all of these wrestlers can do in the grand scheme of things before we get them ready to the main roster. And off of a character aspect, this can benefit Javon, but it can also benefit the guys part of the group as we build them up.
And we've got Anthony Manzano's in agreement. He's making the prediction. He said Javon is probably the leader of the Dark State. I dig it. I'm super with you. But for the sake of conversation, you inspired me here, Shad.
Okay, let's get it.
Because in the midst of you convincing me, you weirdly unconvinced me. And I thought about like what they should represent. You mentioned retribution. You mentioned some of the things we've sort of talked about with this group, maybe being a little upset about their standing, their booking, things like that. If Javon were to be the leader, he's had everything handed to him. He got Randy Orton out of the gates. He got everything he ever wanted. You know who earned it? You know who had to work for it? Obafemi. You know who'd be a perfect heel on the main roster with these guys at his side? Obafemi. You know who wasn't in the ring while they were watching? Obafemi. Because if he was in real danger, they might have pounced. And I've got a weird feeling that that's where we're going. That's where we're going. I think these are Oba's guys. He's recruited. We can't be stuck. Josh Markowitz, you shut your mouth while you're talking to me. You pledge. You shut up while you talk to me, Josh. Josh.
Oh my God.
Yeah, where's Syracuse at an attorney? What are you thinking? At a time like this, I was rolling. I was on fire. Darn it. Right in the middle? What? Come on, man. Obafemi, though, the leader of the Dark State. These are his guys, and he doesn't need them. They follow him because he is the biggest, baddest guy there is in the building, period. And if he brings that to the main roster, who knows what they can't destroy? Who knows if we can't make up for all the sins of retribution? We can shake that. We can get rid of it. Put an all-time leader like an Obafemi on this group. They're his guys. Stop it. It's off the charts. If it's Javon, I'm cool with it too. If it's Trick Williams, I'm cool with it. And that's where it's interesting. If it's none of the three, I'm fascinated where the group goes. But there's nothing I've had more fun with this week speculating about than this particular storyline. And that's something I kind of just want to point out. Like, because it could really go any direction. One thing that can't go any direction, though, Shotty, is, of course, that Kansas-Arkansas game that our buddy Josh Markowitz brought up. But talk to me about your thoughts as far as my Obafemi idea is concerned. Are you muted?
I think yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
No, my bad. Sorry. Man, that's interesting. The way I ain't gonna lie to you. I think you adding Oba to it makes him feel more like a king in a way, like more of the ruler of NXT in a sense. So it would be an interesting twist. I don't see it happening more so just because I think Oba is so dominant on by himself. But hey, man, you and me both don't know. That's a hell of a swerve, though.
Yeah,
I know you like to swerve on your Jello.
exactly. Yes. Yes. He just played up at Rolling Loud. I missed it. Darn it. Up on
He need to
Sunset
learn how to
Boulevard.
perform better. His posture and all that look kind of crazy.
He mostly just takes his shirt off and then just sort of sings along to the track of the actual song. But that's for another segment.
Yeah, no. Do you hear me?
Yes, I got you. You're back.
I had to fix my mic. My bad.
No, you're good. And then Fernando says he likes the Oba idea. D6 Warlord with Josh Alexander. I think that's a push, man. I just think I'm not trying to be overly critical of Josh Alexander. I just don't think he fits that crew or anything like that.
I think we need to also like lower our temperaments, thinking that every single person on the free agency is going to sign to like WWE
Right.
or AEW. At the moment, Josh Alexander has a match on MLP in May, so I don't think he's going to be in NXT anytime soon.
100%. And that's also where, for me, the part of the reason that I even mentioned the Oba idea is I kind of thought about it. And Oba's the only one of the three that believably can say, I can give y'all what you want.
True.
Whereas, right, like Javon can say, I've been given what I wanted.
Watch it be Trick.
Which would be fascinating as well.
Yeah, it could be. And but hold up. Before we do, obviously, we are talking about this faction heavy. The idea of that triple threat match at Standing.
Oh, yes.
That can't go.
Yeah, we can't. I mean, that is the match.
Yeah. That's like, you're talking about Mania weekend. Like, that, like, I'm talking, you're like, this might be a hot take, but like, that holds the same weight in, on paper, you know, respectfully in their own manner as like the matches that might be triple threats on the main roster.
That's as good of a match that can be booked that weekend. And that's where I think it's interesting. We almost accidentally, I think because we cover this every Tuesday night, Shotty, you and I, like we skipped a step. And like, that's the only place you can pay off this idea of who is the real leader. And it has to be that match. That's the only way you can do this. Right? Like, it's like, that's how we got here. We almost did it by accident. Right? It's like, dude, like, I mean, that's the only way this all works.
And it feels good to see the NXT men's division starting to look more like healthy.
Right.
Oba, Trick, Javon. You know, we got Ethan Page that mentioned it in the comments, right? Tony D'Angelo, Ricky Saints, who we'll talk about shortly. Like, there's a lot of there's more depth in the division. I think they could still add more to it, but it's definitely looking a little bit better than it did a few months ago.
100%. Should we go right into Ricky Saints though? Do we?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, the Saints go marching in against Ridge Holland. This is a really cool show off match for Ricky Saints. I loved it. This was an absolute banger, back and forth. I can't lie. There was a moment in the match where I was concerned about Ricky Saints losing the match. He was gonna win this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ridge looks good almost every single week. I've defended him in the past. You know, in certain ways, just right. Shaking the Big E thing is nearly impossible for anybody. Like, that's a huge ask for any performer, man. Like, it's just stuck on your resume, and like I just have empathy for that. I thought he did an excellent job, especially as the larger man against a guy like Ricky Saints in this one. But the Saints went marching in. He's 1-0 in NXT. There's no doubt about that. The Rochambeau, nobody's kicking out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And they called it the Rochambeau, no less. Monster shout out my French Louisianans. I'm just saying. They called it the Rochambeau. Everybody got what they wanted. I think Ricky Saints wins. Where are we going from here, though? What's he doing next?
It looks like they're really alluding to him and Sean Spears backstage, kind of having a little bit of a face-off. Him talking with Izzy Dame, and I think his first destination on his route to NXT is going for the North American championship, going against the Sean Spears. Don't mind it. I don't hate it. I think Sean Spears can be a valid place-holding, champion for Ricky eventually to get the title off of him. Familiarity. These two guys obviously worked in AEW together. And eventually we might get a Ricky Saints and Ethan Page feud. Other familiarity with him and Ethan in AEW. But I thought it was a strong show, and I thought Ricky's looked good in his matches thus far. The presentation has been great. And I think, we just got to keep building. Let him get some wins. Let him get more comfortable. Play the role that he needs to play. But I definitely think we're going to him versus Sean Spears. How that goes, that man got a faction. He got the Cullen or whatever they're called. I don't know if I like it. I probably don't like it, to be honest with you. It feels like a weird team just because when you do a faction full of dark and eeriness, Sean Spears fits the mold. He plays a great job as the cult leader, and I even would give Brooks Jensen some props because I think he kind of plays the guy who's been brain rotted by him. But like the other two, Izzy Dame, I'm still trying to get a little bit of a understanding how she fits the faction a little bit more as the woman in the group. I haven't seen it click as much. And then the other dude, I guess he's just the heavy there because I never seen homie talk. He looks like a skinny version of Razor from AOP.
Yeah, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, Shoddy, because I'm inspired by what you said, but I got to say this. So, like, the dust has been knocked off of the fact that Ethan Page used to be in AEW, and so did Sean Spears, and they both still suck. They're both really not that good. Even in NXT, I don't care what you think. It was really cute when they came over and it was like, oh my gosh, they're in so much of a better place. And that's awesome. And they've been outshined by a bunch of prospects every single freaking week. Every week, they haven't carried nothing. Not a lick. Not for a minute. They've put themselves on TV and it's goofier than a football bat and I'm over it. And it's funny and I don't care anymore. It doesn't matter to me. Sean Spears is very average. So is Ethan Page. They both are. And that's okay. It's okay to be average. But let's not act like the WWE is going to propel these guys into superstardom. It's never going to freaking happen. It's never going to happen. Like, figure it out. If it bothers you, I apologize. But listen, that's the deal. That's where these two dudes are at in their careers. That's who they are at this stage, and that's what they will be for the length of their experiment on NXT. There's nothing revolutionary. There's nothing different. There's nothing extraordinary. There's nothing that tells me that they're going to do anything. And please, I'm begging you, unless you're going to color in a coloring book, never say the word draw again around these two names. It's ridiculous. Knock it off. It's hilarious to me. They are excellent hands in this, and I look up to both. I think they're great performers. But what in the world have we been talking about all this time with these two? And what were these expectations we laid in? Like we were going to get some sort of world-class Emmy-winning performance. Knock it off. Sorry, Sean.
I will say this. I think Ethan Page has been good on NXT. I'm not saying he is a main event stage like I see a Obafemi, a Javon Evans, or Trick. I think he's good. I think he's a good hand. I can see him as a solid, trajectory, maybe like a solid mid-card guy like a Grayson Waller, people like that on the main roster. But I don't disagree. I do think the double standard that a lot of wrestling fans who are tribalists on each side, let's call it spade a spade. We're going to talk about the WWE side for a quick second. Is the fact that you're going to, kind of glaze the fact that there are rival competitions, talents coming on board here, and you want them to look glossier, prettier, whatever it may be. Now they're there. Now there are situations where there are people who jumped ship and they have
Yes,
succeeded. Penta,
100%.
Penta is the man. Jade Cargill, she is one of the best. Those are two people that are legitimate superstars. And if you don't want to root for them because they left,
Hell,
that's
Cody
on you.
Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes, of course. Cody's but you know what? Cody's a WWE guy first. Like obviously he reshaped himself in AEW. So I don't. That one's a little. I'll hold back too. I definitely
Yeah.
think. Did I freeze for a second?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I mean, but to these two, right? Like Sean Spears. Like I'm gonna be real with you. Sean Spears wasn't really that guy when he was Ty Dillinger. We knew he was kind of trash. In AEW,
We got Bobby B
Sean
in
Spears
the comments with Sean Spears.
Yeah,
It's just another guy.
He's
on the
just
roster.
another guy on the roster. He's a cool guy. I like him. You know what I'm
My
saying?
mama
I
laughing
mean,
at football bet.
I think I would rather see his wife back in WWE more than him. But that's neither here or there. Iconic. But anyways,
Iconic. I'm with you. Let's stack the women's tag division. What are we talking about?
I would love to see, even as a single star. I love Peyton Royce was dope.
Peyton Royce was. By the way, Billy was dope. Billy Kay was dope.
Yeah,
they were both great. I'm like,
they're both really good. Billy was.
They had it so figured out.
Yeah.
And even the time Billy, when she was doing the backstage stuff with Sammy during the conspiracy thing, like, dang it, why they didn't keep when she was doing the resume to get on the documentary, which they've never released. They've never released the documentary. Darn it.
Salute to Sammy though, my son.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Okay, either way, let's talk about some Chelsea Green and some Sol Ruca. I love it. I love this. You have the United States champion on NXT against somebody that should have long been in the United States Championship division. Now that it's on the main roster in Sol Ruca, this match was awesome. Heck of a way to open the show. Shad talked to me about it. Obviously, Chelsea is a star's star. All of it from the intros to the open of the show landed. She's not losing her title on Tuesday night, right? That's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
but
no, I know that.
For what this was, man, what more could we ask?
Yeah, it's a good showcase for Sol Ruca, man. I think I'm gonna be transparent. Sol Ruca to me is someone who I think deserves more than she's given. And it's a little odd why I haven't seen her hold a title in her time in NXT, especially when we had 2 belts. Like she's kind of a can't miss prospect. I don't have a lot bad to say about her. I think her athleticism, the stuff that she does in ring, the innovation of her moveset, how she just looks absolutely like a intriguing star. So much charisma in a way, has a bit of a Rob Van Dam-esque nonchalant, chill personality and style. Doesn't need to talk a whole lot for you to be engaged. She lets a lot of what she does within the ropes talk for her. And that's like what a North American champion should be, right? Obviously, it's a little different now that we have a double champ, but like that's kind of what a worker's champ is. And seeing her go against Chelsea Green is great. I'm not gonna lie, she's a great character. She does what she does, but like I just look at the match and I'm like, yo, Sol won this. This could really catapult her career. And if we're not gonna utilize her, because the NXT women's division is stacked. It is definitely stacked. And maybe Sol has to wait for a couple girls to get called up to get her shot. But man, damn it, I say put her on the main roster and let her compete in that mid card division. Let her go for an IC title. Let her go for a US title because I said it a while ago. She has that Charlotte Flair potential more than anybody. Like if Sol
Bro.
Ruka didn't tear her ACL, she very well may be in the same spot as Tiffany
Yeah.
Stratton at WrestleMania because she was doing Stratton stuff before Stratton was in ring wise.
We're in agreement often. I don't know if we've ever been more in agreement than this because I think of all of the women's division, it's not that she's the biggest standout necessarily. I'm not saying she's better than any of the. We talk week in and week out about how great the NXT women's division is, and it is the best in professional wrestling. It's the deepest by far. It is the deepest pool, right? If it was diving, it's the one where you're not going to hit your head on the bottom. You're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just not. But Sol Ruka makes perfect sense for the main roster right at this second, right at this stage. She doesn't have anything gigantic going on. She's ran excellent storylines. Her character makes sense. She can go straight to the main roster and establish something new. She will still be new to the main roster. She's not trying to carry some legacy from NXT at this stage, but she is ready.
Dude,
And
the
I'm a
moment
big believer in
she
strike
hits,
while the iron's hot. It's like
and,
the moment you give her a shot, it's just on.
and the moment she hits a soul snatcher in an arena on a SmackDown or Raw,
You
the
kidding me?
fans are gonna be in
I'm
love
psyched.
out the gate. Like
Oh,
it's you gotta like the thing is this, and I think WWE is doing a good job with it. Like back to Penta, right? Penta got over with the fans because the first match he had, he put an absolute 5-star banger with Chad Gable. That like even sold him even more to it. Now what do? They let him just have great matches with great talent every week on
yeah.
Raw. That's what you could do with Sol Ruka on the women's side, like for the IC belt. For the because I'm gonna be real, man. The mid card divisions are so paper thin
It's
right now.
shallow. It's a kiddie pool. It's a
Yeah,
kiddie pool on the main roster, and we have an Olympic-sized pool over here on NXT. It doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah.
It's like
It's
share
an
some water.
it's an embarrassment of riches, and like you can afford to give some like Sol Ruka, Lash Legend, even like Jada Parker, like you can afford to give them to the main roster and let them do what they got to do because I love. There's a comment from my buddy over here, Tagar, in regards to Chelsea Green and Sol Ruka was great, but sometimes I dread to think had Meechin become the inaugural champ, would she be over with the fans? I don't know. And the reason I think I'm getting a little tiresome with Meechin is not because of Meechin or Mia Yim. It's the fact that we've run this damn match 5 times against each other.
500 times, it
Yeah.
feels like. I mean, I can't even fathom, like, if you're going to all the live events, they're probably running it there too. Like,
then
right? It's probably Meechin, Chelsea Green.
And then you go to Raw. I didn't see Lyra feud between Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile like 3 or 4 times too. Like we
Yeah.
need to add some more like depth and like new blood into the divisions, man.
Build. Yeah, no, I'm in complete agreement. And I think it's really unfair to the main roster. And the women's division
Yeah.
gets messed around on the main roster, like, oh, well, they don't get any time or whatever. It's like there's like 6 of them.
Literally
That
the
actually,
moniker
like, they all wrestle each other every week.
and the moniker every week is the best women's division in professional wrestling. Then why don't you share that riches with the other like sides? Like,
Yeah.
like Chelsea could be wrestling Sol Ruka on a SmackDown in an arena, and crowds can love that for Sol Ruka too, rather it be in NXT.
I mean,
As much as I'm glad that we got to see the match, like let's spread the wealth.
well, and think about it. It's been nearly 3 years, you and I covering every single Tuesday night, immediately after NXT, watching the show every single week. It's harder to name women in this division that aren't ready than it is ones that are ready for the main roster.
Yeah.
And that's like, that's telling, to say the very least. I mean, we've got Fernando Zayas with her time is now in agreement, and then we've even got we need more fresh opponents for Chelsea Green, like Kalani Jordan and
Oh
JC
my
Jane and
God.
Fallon Henley. Yes.
Yes.
Bobby,
Yeah.
yes.
Fallon Henley and her faction would be
Beyond ready.
they'd be solid on the main roster. I definitely agree with Bobby on that. I think Fallon would be a perfect person to be in the mid-card division on the main roster. I think she's such a good character and such a good worker. She'd find her footing very easily.
So obviously, speaking of Fallon,
Oh, yeah.
Stephanie Valquer talks tonight. Heck of a promo. Taking on Fallon and Jada, separate matches.
Separate titles.
What in the wide world of sports, in the words of the great Mel Brooks, are we doing here, Shotty? Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is how we're gonna kind of display Stephanie. I think she is the epitome of what they want to build their women's division on. They see her as the staple, the person who's gonna set the tone, and it's it's a tall task, right? You got a lot of great women that we just mentioned, especially the women that she beat. But I can confidently say this is the right woman to do so. This woman has the tools in the making of being a main event stage women's wrestler on a WWE PLE for Raw or SmackDown on a potential WrestleMania. I think she's that damn good. And her being the fighting champion, not backing down nothing, I think it's intriguing. I think it's beneficial as well because the two matches that she's got lined up, her and Fallon. Fallon is owed this because you get a rematch clause as a former champion. That's going to be intriguing. And her and Jada Parker, that's a fresh matchup. These are two talented women that she is going to go against. I thought the promo was great as well. I love the fact that you let talents talk and you don't care about language barrier. She says English isn't my first language. Ma'am, I would have never, it doesn't matter. You spoke it so eloquently, so confidently, like a true champion, and you let them, you let a wrestler be who they want to be. You don't, try to pigeonhole them, do some dumb gimmick stuff. Like her presentation has been so good thus far, and they allow her to be very confident.
Do you know what my very favorite thing about this whole thing is?
What up?
Single dumb champ thing. They didn't do two belts. They didn't do Steffi two belts or like anything corny.
Yes.
He just has them both. Won them both. And is the baddest woman in the building.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you don't need nothing else.
Baddest woman in WWE at the moment. I don't
Easy
care
money.
Nobody says. Like, I'm at the moment.
Light work.
Yeah, she's above all the women in the WWE now because yes, she has two titles. But like you mentioned, she's saying I'm the North American champ. I'm gonna defend that belt. I'm also the NXT Women's Champion. I'm gonna defend that belt. That is, if you're gonna do a double champ, that's how you do it. That is exactly how you do it. Take no nights off. I ain't afraid of none of y'all women backstage. I'm gonna handle business. I'm gonna whoop you, Fallon. Then I'm gonna whoop you, Jada. It's very good. And like Kobe's comment right here, it's smart not to unify. That is all I wanted. If we would have unified it, then we are causing
it's gross.
Major chaos at the end of the day. You need two belts because your division is booked so well for two belts. If this is the way we're going to go with it.
Okay, so this is interesting. From a friend of the show here, take our Bailey Doe straps and two belts Banks sounded a bit cheesy back in the day. I agree, but I also think that was part of the point because remember they weren't the most dominant in the division, so sort of bragging on holding the belts was annoying. I think that was kind of the point there. Stephanie Valquer does not fit that mold. Yeah. She's not out here like, oh, I'm the belt collector or like I need two belts to establish my ego. She doesn't have an ego. She's just an ass whipper.
Yeah, she's just a,
for lack of a better way to put it, right? She's just going to beat people up and continue to do so. And that I think there's time and place for both. But what I love so much about it is it isn't a script of the back to the same comment like the Bailey Doe straps or the two belts bank stuff. It's not. We've separated this title reign. This is Stephanie Valquer holds both belts and is doing it her way. I think that is the coolest part about this whole thing.
No doubt.
And not only that, she deserves it. Like, I think, I mean, at the end of the day, when we look back, she's going to be one of the best NXT Women's Champions we've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt about it. I think no doubt about it.
Yeah, she's going to definitely be in the conversations with the Shaynas, the Roxannes, the Asukas, when you talk about just the women's lineage in NXT.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, like, look, man, these are the type of signings that people need to kind of, you know, give a little bit more a notion to, right? A little bit more praise to, because this wasn't the big person that we all knew from a Dynamite or from AEW and stuff like that. You know, this was an international talent. We did see her wrestle at Forbidden Door versus my CEO Mercedes Moné. But
absolutely,
like she's
I've left that up there late.
She's doing her job, man. She's like I'm such a fan of Stephanie because I've seen her talk. Obviously, salute to Busted Open and Bully Ray, and I listened to the interview. The woman loves professional
Pro
wrestling. She said that today in the promo too. She said, "My first language may not be English, but my first language is wrestling."
Wrestling,
and that is a freaking beautiful,
ice cold,
line. Like, how could you not want to, like, as a wrestling fan who we watch this stuff every day of the week, how could you not want to, you know, support and root for someone like that? Like, that's a true, like, savant behind the bell. So salute to her, man. I think she's gonna be special.
I've left it up for a long time, but I love this comment from Bobby Petito. He said Stephanie Valkyria is a fighting champion like Lyra Valkyria is on the main roster. How about that? That's a tongue twister more than I realized. I haven't said that name in a long time over here on the NXT show. I agree. And that's what's so cool about it. Is like, dude, Lyra is killing it on the main roster in her own way. She killed it on NXT. That's what Steph is doing. That's what Stephanie Valkyria is doing. She's not even Steph. You can't call her that. It's Stephanie Valkyria. She's different than anybody else we've seen. I even understand this Keith Lee comparison. I get it. That's not what we're seeing. Nah. It's not the same at all. Dude, it is two different people. And I think it's important to note that, because it's easy to, I mean, comparison's a thief of joy, right? It's one of my favorite sayings ever at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And don't take this, she has two titles, so it's like, right? Yeah. Don't start connecting dots. That's not fun anymore, because that's not what this is. And I'm not saying let it play out, because that's a cliche too, and I can't stand that one either. But at the end of the day, Stephanie Valkyria is carving her own path with these two titles, and will do so. And I cannot wait to see what she does. But I will say, Shadi, I think that's going to bring us to the end of tonight's show, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I think that is, yes, that is the last topic at hand. And one last thing, though, obviously, it is called the Dark State. Not Stage.
Dark Stage sounds cool, though.
I want to give one person props in that group.
Go for it.
Dion Lennox, young man. The fire you cut in that backstage promo. I am so sorry that they gave you such a dorky character prior to this. I'm so sorry that they made you be a Poindexter and a freaking goober and a nerd prior to this. Because this is the element that you're uncomfortable in. This is the passion that you have. You're a former NFL football player. I know damn well you're not, you know, being like Steve Urkel, right? You're more of a Stephon. So I'm happy for you, man. And Saquon Sugars, DMV, DC, do-rag and all, wrestling with the dude. I'm locked in. Dark State, I'm locked in. I never sold my stock. We didn't sell our stock. We're looking good right now. Okay? I'm peeping it every week. It's
I'm in.
Up. We locked in.
Shadi, I'm in. Dark State, I'm in. Dark Stage sounded doper. Yes. But Dark State is sick too. Here's one thing, though, I will say, though. We can't really go home because we just had the funniest comment I've ever seen in my life. do me a huge favor. Get your tinfoil hat on. It's conspiracy theory time here on Tuesday nights. You ready for this? Stephanie Valkyra is evidently NXT's Thunder Rosa. It got me so good.
No.
I don't think so.
Oh my God. Come on. Comment. What is his name? Tony Khan, man. Okay. Let me preface this real quick because I do not want to disrespect.
They're very different people. We can assure you.
I don't want to disrespect Thunder Rosa because Thunder Rosa is one of the most important women's wrestlers in wrestling today. She's one of the most important women's wrestlers in AEW history. I say that to say this. I look at Stephanie Valkyra in the light as Rhea Ripley's up here. I think she can get above a Rhea Ripley. Io Sky's up here. I think she can get above a Io Sky. You know, like I truly think Stephanie Valkyra in a couple years can be the biggest women's superstar on WWE. Like there's just a presence about her. You see it in the fans. Everyone is gravitated by her. She's a special talent, dude. Like, and we read that. We say the same thing about Obafemi. That's a special talent. That's like what Roman Reigns will. He's gonna be like a Roman Reigns. Stephanie is going to be like a Rhea Ripley. Like these are the next generation of megastars in the WWE if booked and continue doing right. But like, I'm so confident that they're that damn talented. When you're undeniable, you're undeniable. Like you can't. No one's going like. There's no losing to it, right?
Absolutely. There's no losing to it, and I'm with you. I mean, we are supposed to go home, by the way. This is supposed to be the end of the show, Shoddy, by the way. I'm like, we could extend this, darn it. But I will say, did he say shot? Say the word shot. He said the A word. That's actually hilarious from Kobe. No, but that does bring us to the end of the show. We will see you next week. Same time, same place, immediately following NXT. Me and Shoddy will be back with, hopefully, Dryzzy. Monster shout out to the guy you should believe in.
Should believe in him.
Every single week. Plug Funny. What did he call himself again the one time that got me really good?
Plug Funny, the wrestling plug, yeah.
No, but he always does the other one that gets me he did the one that got me it was funny. I forget what it was. I'll think of it next time. Either way, Monster shout out Driz. We love you. And everybody, I hope you have an excellent Tuesday night. If you didn't get tacos, get them next week. And we'll be back with the daily and all kinds of other good stuff on WR. Enjoy your week. On behalf of me and Shad, we'll talk to you soon. Peace.